Hey everyone, it's Mason. Hope you're doing good today. If I am way too quiet as opposed to the content that I'll be playing, I apologize in advance. I'm not testing any of this, I'm just going off what I can see. But anyway, I was watching some YouTube while I was making my bed today. If you couldn't tell from the change in scenery, or if you didn't know already, I have moved into my dorm at college down south. So I'm in my dorm room, actually on campus at college, and it's exciting. But I was watching YouTube today, making my bed, and I ran across this video in my recommended or on my homepage, and it was 6 problems only smart people have, and it was by Psych2Go. Um, just saying, none of this content is mine up front, but it was very interesting. And as someone who has constantly thought, I mean, yes, this may sound pretentious and arrogant. I know that, and some of it might be without me realizing it. But I feel like a lot of this is fair, and I'm not saying I'm the only person who this pertains to, because this could very, very, very well pertain to a lot of people and a lot of my friends as well. Just because a lot of my friends are quite smart, even if they don't think it. But I thought that this was not only something very interesting, but something that I had been saying about myself for a while. That my intellect had been bringing me back in certain other ways, giving me drawbacks. And so I just thought that this was very interesting. And so not all of these I resonate with, not all of these I agree with. And moreover, it's just something kind of fascinating to me and something I just figured I'd talk about. So without further ado, let's just get right into it.
Hey Psych2Goers, and welcome back to your favorite spot for all things psychology. Thank you so much for your love and support, enabling us to make yet another
And
exploration
yeah,
into
I'm going to
everyday
be
psychology.
stopping the
So,
video
let's begin.
to talk.
Do you ever wonder if your problems can be concluded to the idea that you're just too smart for your own good? Even high IQ comes with its own set of highs and lows. Sigh. We usually think of the
Sigh.
highly intelligent as people who are destined for success and given more opportunities than others. But what if there are some problems that are more likely to arise just because you are intelligent? According to psychologists and extensive research, there are some problems smart people are more likely to have. Before we begin, please do not use this to self diagnose, as
And
this is
I'm
not a
not.
scale for rating intelligence.
I'm not.
With that said, here are 6 problems only smart people have. Number 1, they often suffer from psychological disorders.
Hi,
Yes,
that's me.
you heard that right. Research suggests that your intelligence can also mean an increased risk of you developing certain affective disorders. Psychologist and researcher Ruth Harpinski conducted a study in which all her participants were members of American Mensa, a high IQ society, which requires all its members to have an IQ in the top 2%.
No, I've never ever taken an IQ test before, but I am not that smart.
The participants self reported whether or not they were diagnosed with or suspected they had a range of mood disorders and anxiety disorders.
So one thing I do want to note here was originally when I saw that I was like, "Hey, that's me. Let's go, Depression Club." But I have had depression, chronic depression. So it's a chronic, it's a mental illness, mental disorder. I prefer the word disorder. It's not like something that has affected me because of life. It's situational. It's chronic. It's in my chemistry. But I've had that since before I was, well, most likely since before I was intelligent. Like, I was intelligent as a young kid, but I'm pretty sure I've had this piece of my chemistry, so it's not like my IQ caused me to have these problems. So I just wanted to have a quick note on that.
Disorders reported included attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and psychological diseases that include environmental and food allergies, asthma, and autoimmune disease.
So I don't have any autoimmune diseases. I don't have asthma or anything like that. I keep thinking I have ADHD just because I have a huge trouble focusing. Um, That's all I wanted to say.
According to the study, this implicates high IQ as being a potential risk factor for affective disorders, ADHD, and for an increased incidence of disease related to immune dysregulation. Number 2, they're night owls.
I just want to point out that it's 2:06 in the morning right now. If you know me personally in any way, shape, or form, you know I'm a night owl. But that does not necessarily stem from my intelligence. Uh, not necessarily. Um, my whole family, well, not my whole family, but like my mom is a huge night owl, so I probably get that from her.
Are you frequently burning the midnight oil? Are you more awake while the rest of the world sleeps? According to
Yes.
researchers Richard D. Roberts and Patrick C. Kylalin, evening types are more likely to have higher intelligence scores. While being a night owl may sound like a good thing, and it can be, there are some downsides to working through the night.
Big drawbacks.
Firstly, your schedule is likely messed up. You work long hours throughout the night without getting tired. But because of this, you stay up through the night, and then you also have to get up early for work.
Or sleep in through your 9:30 class like I did.
If you don't get the necessary sleep, you may feel tired and groggy when you have to work during the day or when socializing with friends. If your sleep schedule is off, you likely won't be feeling as alert and well rested.
That was literally me almost on the right, me on the right, almost every day of high school. Just trying not to fall asleep in every class. And I mean every class, not just my morning class, every class. Because no matter how much sleep I got, I was always tired.
As your friends at 7 a.m., which means that morning picnic you all had planned, well, you may just feel you need to cancel. You're too tired. Maybe reschedule for an evening of dancing instead. Number 3, they have high expectations. Did your test scores label you as smart early on in childhood?
Yes, they did. I can't remember exactly what grade it was, but any one of my family members who's watching this knows exactly where I'm going. When I was in elementary school, and I'm gonna say third grade, second grade, somewhere along there, just so you can get a basic understanding. I had the reading level of a 12th grader. If any of you are around my age and you use the program Lexia or Lexile, or if you know of the Lexile score, my Lexia score from what I used back in the day, I think Lexile scores have changed, but mine was like a 1200, which meant like if for every 100 Lexile score you went up, it was like the equivalent of an American grade. So I had a 1200, which was a 12th grade reading level or a senior in high school as like a second or third grader. And I remember being like going past the the 6th grade threshold on your online programs where it would be like word games, which is something I love, word games and puzzles and things. And it booted me up into the 7th and 8th grade class where it was literally just like knowledge, multi choice questions. And I was like, can I go back down because the other ones are more fun? And my teacher said, no, you can't. You can't do that. So
Did this raise others' expectations of you?
that's an interesting question. I don't know how like my parents, the way I view my parents' expectations of me was it was as long as I was behaving and trying my best. I don't think my high test scores ever made them feel like I needed to get high test scores because I always had drawbacks in other areas. My test scores were high, but one of the things, instead of being like, oh, you have to be perfect now, my parents really focused on the fact that I hated homework and couldn't do well in homework and failed my homework sections of my classes. And so it wasn't more of they had higher expectations of me. It was that the expectation was for me to work on my worst part of my academics and make that better. Even in college, my first semester of college was abysmal. Um, and my expectation from my parents was not like, wow, that's so bad. It was, well, we understand that you're struggling, and the expectation is that you try and that next semester is better. So,
Even you may have these paramount expectations from none other than yourself.
but none other than myself, that throughout most of my life is where the expectations have come in, is I have the highest expectations of myself, and they're often not met.
People expect you to succeed and achieve nearly perfect scores on all your tests because you displayed characteristics that deemed you as smart. So, meeting these expectations may hang as a bit of a burden upon your shoulders, and those expectations ultimately cause you serious stress if you don't manage them effectively. It's best to take
What's managing things effectively? I never met her.
it one step at a time with whatever you do. Look towards the future, but don't be discouraged if it's not everything you thought it would be. Odds are, a year or two from now, you won't be thinking about that A minus on your geography exam.
Wait, so you're saying wanting to become a professional and famous actor, changing the entire scheme of the green energy movement, and trying to become president is too much?
Number 4, they're overexcitable and can have high energy.
There's only one thing I need to say about this to my family if they're watching this. Discord.
Have you ever had an intelligent friend who always seemed to be extremely intense and excitable in whatever they did?
Or a better question is, have you had an intelligent friend who only seems to get excited, who when they're excited, they're overly excited. They're never in the middle, because that's me. When I'm excited, I'm extraordinarily excited, and I'm very determined, and very happy about what I've done. Or I'm back down to like my normal, which I'm sure I've explained before, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about.
Do they go long hours without sleep because they're always hyper focused or excited regarding their work? In the 1960s, Polish psychiatrist and psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski introduced the concept that being highly gifted or intelligent is associated with psychological and physiological overexcitabilities, otherwise known as OEs.
Yes. uh, So, for those of you who don't know, I have multiple projects that I've gotten through, like my Friendship Resource Initiative, which, if you've been on this channel for any length of time, you've probably heard of. If you know me, you probably heard of it. Or most recently, my college was having a Discord server, and I'm one of 4 admins on there, and so I do a lot of work. And so when something comes up, I get really into wanting to make that as pretty as possible. In my Friendship Resource Initiative, I'm always thinking on ways to improve it, and I'm always constantly wanting to change things. Like right now, I'm wanting to update everyone's birthdays on there and stuff like that. And so, um, when it comes to passion, you just hyper focus. So that's me.
It's most often a sudden high energy towards a certain situation or topic. It displays itself in varying ways, such as a competitiveness, compulsive organizing, compulsive talking, impulsive behavior, and others.
So I'm not very competitive. My compulsive organizing is not very compulsive. Like OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. I don't have compulsive. I more have obsessive. I don't have compulsive talking, and I don't have compulsive behavior. So that's one of those. This is one of those areas where I don't really resonate with this part of it.
It's unfortunate that these OEs are treated as a problem by teachers or parents. Intelligent students and children are often mislabeled or punished due to unawareness about OEs. As research from the University Kabang-San, Malaysia suggests, gifted students who are frequently labeled as problematic because of their intense behavior should be given assistance in understanding and coping with their overexcitabilities.
I've had quite a few friends like that who were very extreme, and they were labeled as obnoxious. And so I've always tried to be that person, who's like there for them. But I've never been labeled or shunned or um, whatever she said about, like, I've never received anything negative about my I don't want to say erratic, but my very oh my gosh, what's the word? I'm trying to make this video short and I can't think of a word. My very kind of personality, like in your face, all of a sudden, just very like, I mean, again, my family knows, some days I'm just kind of like, hey, how's it going? And then other days I'm like, boom, run 3 laps around the kitchen and go. And so it's just like, and most people don't see that side of me. But at home, it's like I'm just like So, but I've never really received anything negative towards that behavior. It was really that behavior. We've really pinned that to my mental disorder. Um, yeah.
Number 5, they overanalyze things.
Hello. Hi. That's me.
Have you ever admired someone for their intelligence, but noticed they always tend to overanalyze things? Well, this urge to analyze likely has a strong link to their intelligence. This tendency to overanalyze may be connected to the hyperbrain hyperbody theory proposed by Ruth Harpinski and her colleagues. The theory connects being overly analytical to Dabrowski's psychological and physiological overexcitabilities, or OEs. These psychological OEs cause you stress, and physiological OEs appear as a response to that stress. So, as a result, overanalyzing often occurs. Let's
I was gonna try and explain what she just said, but like that was a lot. I'd have to go back and think about it. So, uh, yeah.
say you receive a negative remark from someone you care about. Someone who is smart and also exhibits overexcitabilities may overanalyze the comment, causing physiological OEs in the form of the body's stress response, which means more stress and anxiety.
This was the point that I wanted to talk about in this section. Yes, I've watched this video before. Like I said, it came across my feed. I just recently, like within the last couple of days, received, well, I do it all the time anyway. I do it constantly, um, especially with, like in my brain, regards to romance, or attraction, or, comments towards my personality. But just recently, I received a comment from someone whose opinion that I respected, and it's one of those things that just eats at the back of your mind constantly. Like you're always thinking about, and as it'll say in the video later, I'll try not to talk too much about. You're always thinking about the different perspectives, the different tones, the different ways that someone could, the very different subtleties, the ways this person could have meant that in all of the different contexts that are feasible. And just thinking about, and I mean, this portrays it in a particularly negative sense, which, causes stress. Um, I think, like, you receive a negative comment, it makes you stress. Um, but just receiving like, I don't want to say offhanded, but just receiving any kind of just general, not positive, not negative comment, and taking it to heart is something I do way too much.
They could be creatively imagining all the scenarios and implied meanings from this one comment, while another person may shrug their shoulders and move on. Number 6, they can become super stressed. Well, no surprise here. It was a long time coming, right? With all the extra analyzing going on, it ultimately had to lead to this. It has often been suggested that smart people are some of the biggest worriers. No, not warriors, but hey, with all the stress they've been through, they might as well be called warriors too. Harpinski's studies only add to this idea that those who have a high IQ and likely display overexcitabilities are often suffering from stress. With psychological OEs, people will often ruminate and feel stress about certain situations. Since physiological OEs appear from the body's response to this stress, when these two interact, it can cause both physiological and psychological dysfunctions. Stress, stress, stress. The truth of it all is, the more you think and ponder on an idea, the more you may think of negative scenarios or problems, and therefore stress about them. We hope we were able to give you insight in some of the ways you can identify the sneakiness of smartness.
So that was all I wanted to go over about this video. I just thought it was interesting. I just thought it was an interesting topic that really related to me. And I mean, I haven't done anything on YouTube in a while, so it was kind of like itching for a reason to see if I could set up a microphone at my desk. I can't. And I really, really hope this isn't too horrifically long because I don't edit my videos. I just record them and post them unedited. So, uh, yeah, this is in no way me trying to be like, look at me, I'm smart, I'm special, I'm not looking for pity. This isn't like a cry for help. I feel like I have to say that more and more recently. But no, this was just something interesting that I saw, and I thought I'd talk about it because it was something that I very highly resonate with, something that resonated with me, rather, um, and something that I just thought to be important, something I thought I'd explore and share my personal experience because I love answering questions. You know, I love talking about myself. I love talking about myself. No, I'm a very open book. Uh, and so I like it when people know lots about me because it makes my behavior, my personality predictable, which is good because then people don't get scared when I do stupid things because it means that they understand how I operate at least a little bit, which makes them not freak out and not want to be my friend. So that's all. Um, yeah, this was very interesting. I just saw a tag up in the top right when we were watching it together, um, of why, like, 6 reasons why smart people can't have happiness, and it's like, that seems fun. But anyway, I just want to reiterate: this is not me saying that I'm smarter than the average person. This is not me asking for, pity or anything like that. This is not me saying you should worry about me. It was just an interesting topic, and I thought I would just share my thoughts because it was something that I have really thought about a lot. And what's one of my biggest struggles, not me being too smart. Me being too smart is one of my biggest struggles. No, I'm kidding. But like, I feel like the whether related to my IQ or not, the struggles that have been outlined here, the problems that were outlined, whether they're related to my IQ or not, um, are something that I've been struggling with. And so I feel like more often than not, the reason why I want to do these YouTube videos is not to make enjoyable content, but so I can, because I don't usually talk about these things. Like I haven't gone to talk therapy in a while, so this is my form of talk therapy, and so I can, in doing this, you sit back after the experience, after I'm done recording, I'll, sit back and think about, oh, maybe, look at it a different way, or, I talk about it and I said something that makes a little bit more sense and I can come to understand myself a bit more. So, like I said, I hope this recording isn't too terribly long. 20 minutes, that was much longer than I was hoping. But I did ramble a lot at the end. And I did talk a good bit at the beginning. So if you're still watching this whole thing, thank you very much. I love you. And I can say that with confidence because not many people watch my videos. So if you watched all the way through, I love you. I love a lot of my friends anyways. So there's a good chance I love you. Yeah. Just thanks for being in my life. This last semester was very hard, emotionally and certainly academically, and I feel I can physically feel that I'm already doing better academically, uh, but emotionally it has been very rejuvenating to be on campus surrounded by other people my age, laughing and having social interaction, even though we're all like 10 feet apart and wearing masks, and I only get to see people's eyes and forehead. It's still much, much, much better and very greatly appreciated. So, I just want to say, whether you're family member, friend from home, new friend from Redlands, whatever, just, thanks. Thanks for being in my life, man. Really appreciate you. So, hope you have a good day. Um, I still don't know how to end these kinds of videos, but I'm really good at managing to tack a couple minutes on at the end. It's for the watch time. So, see you later.